All right, in three, two, one. Hello and welcome to the Nacho Show. This is Nacho Valdez, and today we're going to talk about a fantastic topic. We're going to talk about the Caucus System and the influence that it has within our Constitution of the United States of America. And we have a special guest today, which is Jill Koford, and will be right here today at the Nacho Show. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for being here today with me. My name is Ignacio Valdez, like I said, and in the beautiful Ogden, Utah. This show is being sponsored to you by Solidify Web. Let's build a website for you today. You have an idea, you have a business, come to us, solidifyweb.com. Also, we all have another sponsor, which is Nacho Graphics. And Nacho Graphics will make your business look fantastic with unlimited graphics for you and your business. Anyway, all right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. And we have a special guest today. Her name is Jill Koford. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me today.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I do apologize for the technical difficulties, but we are back. And I just, first of all, guys, I want to let you know that Jill Koford, she is currently running for a House representative seat in the Utah House of Representatives. And I just want to let you know, Jill, just I want to support you here, through my podcast. And I just want everybody to know that I'm very proud of women, running for office. This is very dearing to my heart because, they already do so much at home, taking care of children and dealing with husbands and things like that. Right. And there's so much that women go through, and now Jill is running for office, and we'll go ahead and just hear more about her. Jill, can you give us a little bit of your background, and then we can go from there?
Sure. I grew up in Weber County, grew up actually in Ogden Canyon, which meant I went to school in the Ogden Valley. It was great going to elementary and junior high in one building. We thought we were really cool when we got the whole hallway to ourselves in junior high, although there was a kindergarten classroom at the end of the hallway. So I guess we had to share a little bit. I graduated from Weber High, stuck around, went to Weber State, had a great experience at Weber State. And my husband and I thought our jobs might take us out of the state one day, but we managed to stay here where we love, to work and play, and have just made our livelihoods here in the Ogden area. So we've been really lucky that we never had to relocate. We have children. They're 24, 20, and 17, and parenting adult children is a challenge. That's a new one that I didn't plan on. They're awesome kids, and it's been a great ride. So I'm a lifelong Republican as well, and have been going to caucus night, for a long time. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that. So what made you decide to run for office?
Well, if I'm being candid, it was my husband was tired of listening to me complain and said it's time to put my money where my mouth is or stop complaining. And I'm not one to sit down, so I wanted to throw my hat in the ring. I've been involved in the county party for a number of years, kind of behind the scenes, getting to know the political process. Mm-hmm. And the timing is right now for my family, for me personally. It's a good time, and I think it's a good time to stand up for what we truly believe in and to be a strong conservative voice in the state of Utah.
And that is a fantastic decision that you made, and you are definitely an example to others that they talk the good talk, out there, like, oh yeah, we should do this, we should do that, But the topic of this episode is around the Caucus System.
Okay.
And as I was mentioning before, out of the camera, is the fact that the Caucus System is what gives the power to the people to
Mhm.
actually change things. Sometimes I hear that, oh, I'm just so lazy to go to the caucus, or I'm, I people will not understand me, or I mean, it's okay. I mean, going to the caucus really means so much for our country, and now in these perilous times, it is better just to get off the couch, get off of Facebook, and then just go and vote. It made me really sad to see that there was not very much turnout in the caucus meetings that we currently had this week. It saddens me because everybody wants to see changes, but nobody's willing to change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a valid statement, and I agree. I mean, I had friends posting on social media that there was nobody that showed up in their precincts. Um, our precinct had about maybe close to 30, between 25 and 30 people there, which, in 2016, when we did the presidential primary during our caucus meetings, the room was
Hmm.
overflowing. We had well over 100 people in the room. So, and we were in an auditorium in a local junior high. We certainly had the space to accommodate it, but not the turnout. And I think that people don't necessarily understand the caucus system, and there's maybe an education that needs to happen about
Hmm.
what you said, why it is so vital and so important. And I think that every voice is important at caucus night.
Right. And one thing that I was going to make a comment on, Jill, and you will definitely will agree with me with this one, is the fact that, okay, well, Utah is a very unique state, and in its majority, and I'm saying in its majority because that's how it is of a conservative background,
Yeah.
because we all belong to a very concentrated Christian faith, and that what makes us conservative. Because I'm a Latter Day Saint myself, and my belief in God and in Christianity. Well, as you can see here in the background, he's watching us.
Right.
So we do have a firm belief in God and family and country, and we do have those perspectives in our lives. Now, with that being said, it definitely puts us in a spot where we have to choose the right thing to do, and because of that, we have to choose the right candidate that will have those morals too.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And I saw lately that uh, gosh, something that really got me very concerned. We do have other individuals from other parties infiltrate the caucus for the Republicans and register as a Republican in order for them to make bad decisions or put other individuals that do not have or principles in office. And that makes me very, very, very mad. so, what do you think about that? I think people should be very honest about these things, and not just because we are a very conservative state, then we're going to allow those of the opposite side infiltrate or party and let them vote for whatever, you know what I mean. So I saw a couple of tweets out there that there were a couple of Democrat individuals that became a state delegate in the Republican Party
This week that happened?
this week. Yes,
Wow.
yes. and then that for don't you know don't you know how dangerous this is? Democrats registering as Republicans and then voting for the actual. I don't know. It just
Do you know that's interesting because with the change in the process, there are two ways to get to the primary ballot in Utah, right? There's
mhm,
the caucus convention system, or people can gather signatures and go straight to the ballot. So it's confusing to me. I mean, I'm with you, Nacho. I don't understand why somebody would register as something that they don't fundamentally believe in. Um, but I would never personally do that because it's so dishonest, right? I'm a Republican. I was grateful at caucus night that we read the entire the Utah Republican platform. It's such a good reminder that we sit down and we look at that document and we say, yeah, this is what we believe as Republicans in Utah. This is our
mhm,
litmus test for our elected officials and for the decisions that we make in public policy. Um, Having said that, we probably need to hold those people who are running as delegates to those same standards. And
yeah,
it sounds like either there weren't enough people there to force a vote or to have a really honest and open conversation and say, what are your principles? What are your standards? What do you believe in? Why should we trust you with this, I think, very sacred duty to vet our candidates as a delegate, right? You have an
mhm,
opportunity and a responsibility as a state and county delegate to vet the candidates the best that you can, get to know them, get to know the issues, get to know, understand what they believe in, and then work with your neighbors and say, hey, this is the work that I've done. This is what I'm thinking. You guys, what do you think? Give me your input. I mean, really, that's the way it ought to work, right? It doesn't
mhm,
always work that way. And clearly, if we have Democrats that are attending caucus night and standing up and saying, I want to be a delegate, then those of us in the room need to be able to vet those people and make sure that they're Republicans, right? Now, I will
mhm.
say that I think we need to have room in the Republican Party for all voices. I think that makes us better. I think that when we all just blindly agree and we're not willing to have the hard conversations and debate the issues, that's not necessarily a good thing either, right? I think there's room for a lot of voices in the party, and that we should have passionate debate and conversation and come to the best conclusions and the best answers at the end of the day.
Agree.
So
I agree, and it is shameful, of those individuals to make such decisions of registering as a Republican, and I don't know, it's cheap to me. I don't know.
I would agree, and the Democrats are having their caucus night in a couple of weeks, right? So there's
Yeah,
an opportunity to get involved if that's where you align politically. There's an opportunity to get
yeah,
involved and go to a Democratic caucus night. So,
yeah.
and in Utah, like you said, it's tricky. We're a super majority here. We're not just the majority in the Utah legislature. We hold a super majority as Republicans. So I don't know that we want to disenfranchise our Democratic neighbors, but there's a process, right?
Hmm. Agree,
So
agree 100%. And this is something that we need to that we as Utahns need to understand, and not just for the state of Utah. It just goes for everybody in our country. To go out there and make good decisions as far as um, go out and meet your candidates, because this country is in trouble right now. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm an immigrant. I came here from Mexico, and I was super tired of their policies, and all of the corruption, and all of the decisions made based off of money, or a number, or like taxes being used for other things. And it's definitely visible what is going on right now. Granted, there are other things out there that are quite different from here. Is that down there, it's funny that they stress the fact that you have to have a card to vote. You have to have an ID. And as long as you are 18 years old down there, first thing they're going to tell you, get your voter ID. That's what you're going to
Interesting.
do. Yeah. And they even have commercials all over national TV and things like that. So then why, gosh, it just makes me super upset. Why do Democrats are demonizing the fact that you have to have a voter ID in order for you to vote? And when in Mexico, they're like, it is your civic duty to go and get your card. But
Right.
here's like, it's racist.
I have no answer to that because you need an ID to do anything in this country. In the back of my credit cards, it says CID. I don't even want to buy something at the store unless somebody verifies that that's me. And that's probably PTSD because I had my wallet stolen once. But, we require an ID in this country for everything, and everyone has an ID. It's not that different. Here, you turn 16, you get a driver's license. If you don't get a driver's license, many states, you turn 16, you get a state ID. That's just how we live our lives. You have to identify yourself. I
Yeah.
don't see that as racist or anything. I see that as very practical. So I don't understand it. So it's hard for me to answer that question.
No, and you answered that question really well, and you are, you're straight ahead, with that, because uh, an ID is definitely necessary
Right. Right.
for everything. If couples you over, then yeah, you have to show an ID. If you want to go travel, you have to show an ID.
Our
um
students in elementary school get an ID card. My in junior high and high school, they get an ID card. You want to go, I don't know, bowling at the university, you're a university student, you show them your ID card. Everything requires ID. I ski at Snow Basin. I have a picture ID to ski at Snow Basin. I mean, even just to recreate, right? There are places where we need an ID. So why not protect our most sacred obligation, voting, by showing our ID? I don't think that's a hard thing.
yeah, yeah, that definitely. And it just drives me insane how the Democrats really demonize having an ID. But I guess that's another topic for another episode.
Well, I think that it's really disingenuous to say that people don't know how to get an ID. That just that's just inaccurate, right? So yeah, but we digress. So
That's for sure. That's definitely for sure. So let's talk about more about the caucus system. The caucus system. Okay, so if some people in the audience do not understand what the caucus is basically you belong in your neighborhood. You do have, and please correct me if I'm wrong. So you have your neighborhood, okay? Let's say 100 individuals, okay? And your neighborhood is divided into, let's say, certain zones within your neighborhood. And let's say like 25, 25 homes, and within those 25 homes, you will have one person that represents those 25 homes, those 25 voters, right? And
right,
then, with that being said, that person that gets elected in the caucus meeting belongs, and also, okay, so that person becomes a state delegate, which helps elect individuals such as yourself for office, from the House and Senate, and also at the county level. Okay, that's another individual that represents, like, or our founding fathers were so smart, at making this real, and building this system. So once that happens, then those individuals, they have the way to go ahead and elect those individuals, and speak with the candidates and everything like that. And after determining who is the right person to be in office, then they cast their vote, and then that is how the individuals that are being represented, they can cast their vote towards that. and then not just for House of Representatives or Senate. They can also vote for Utah Senate, for their party. And then once, and gosh, next time I should have like a billboard or something like that.
Right? We need a whiteboard.
Yeah, why?
And it's a little bit, it can be a little overwhelming to understand how that's all organized, right? So the state is separated into Utah House legislative districts, and in the political party, that's one of the major bodies of organization. So you have a Utah House district, and within those districts, you have your voting precincts, which are exactly like what you said, your neighborhood voting precincts that maybe, I'm not sure what the numbers are in each precinct. Each House district has about 43,000 total voters in it. So we just went through redistricting, right? The Utah House, because of the census, redrew all the lines in Utah. And drawing one house boundary would be pretty easy, but when you have to draw all of those, I think there are 75 in the house, it gets a little more confused. It gets a little more tricky, right? To make sure that those are all balanced out number wise. So, and in the Republican Party, legislative districts have leadership. They have a legislative district chair and vice chair, and typically a secretary and treasurer. And they serve as part of the central committee for the county party. And in Weber County, the legislative district chairs serve as on the central committee for the state party. So that's kind of how the party governance works. And then you go down to your precincts, where you elect your delegates, your state delegates, and your county delegates. So for my race, for Utah House District 10, we're all in Weber County. Every voting precinct that encompasses District 10 is in Weber County. So my election will be decided, or the primary election, and who the nominee will be decided at county convention. Then the district right next to us is District 11, and that's currently held by Kelly Miles. Kelly's district covers Weber County and Davis County. So because it's a multi-county race, his delegates will be state delegates, and they'll vote at the state convention as to who will be their nominee for that seat. So it gets a little confusing, but you pretty much nailed it, right?
I hope I did.
Yeah, you did. So we meet in our precincts to select who we want to represent us from our neighborhood, to go to those meetings, so that we don't necessarily have to, right? We delegate that responsibility to someone to vote for us on our behalf at the convention, at either the state or the county convention. And I think it's a really powerful process, right?
Yeah, it definitely is a powerful process because, like I said in the beginning, being a state delegate is basically just exactly like you said. The people delegate to that individual to be able to vote for capable individuals, such as yourself here in this case, to represent them, at the state level, or at at the local level, at the House of Representatives. So
Right.
that's definitely, and yeah, gosh, yeah, I wish I wish I would have a blackboard, a whiteboard,
Yep.
to actually explain everything.
Visuals are often helpful. So, and the delegates determine who goes to the primary, or if there's only one candidate, then they determine who goes to the general election, right? So, and it depends on the voting thresholds of each county, how that kind of is determined. So now people can completely circumvent the caucus and convention system by gathering signatures and get themselves placed directly on the primary ballot. So,
I have been a state delegate for, let me see, gosh, 8 years.
and did you get reelected this week?
I didn't, but I know somebody that got elected, and then I can definitely let you know who the person is. And I have already talked to her about you and everything. So, but yeah. Anyway,
I appreciate that.
yeah, go Jill Koford.
Thank you.
So anyway, so Jill, now you're a candidate for the House of Representatives, and we've talked before, and we've met at the Lincoln dinner, which is another of um, the responsibilities of the state delegates to do. I go to the Lincoln dinner also because I just love to network with everybody. Because
It's fun. It's a great
yeah,
event. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. So, as far as being a candidate, what are the things that you look forward, as being a member of the House?
Well, so in Weber County right now, we have 7 representatives in the state House of Representatives. We have 7 seats. One of those seats is currently held by a Democrat in Weber County, and that's House District 10. So that essentially cancels out a vote, meaning that Weber County is only getting 5 votes in the Utah House of Representatives. Because we're a supermajority, and our current representative isn't given really a seat at the table, right? Because she's not part of the majority caucus or the majority or the supermajority of the Republican Party. I think that it's critically important for us to have all 7 of those voices. And so for me, that's one of the biggest things that matters to me. I want to be the voice, one of those strong voices for Weber County at the state legislature, representing our Utah values and our conservative principles.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, when you and I spoke at the Lincoln dinner, I made you a couple of questions, and we just need to make sure that that we are also on the same page and everything like that. So, um, and I also mentioned several issues that are currently going on with in the House of Representatives, and um, us as conservatives really concern us so much that and I'm just going to be very, like, I don't know, very inviting, very encouraging, because you are running for office, and I salute you for that, for what you're
Thank
doing.
you. It's a little
And
terrifying, I won't lie. It's a little terrifying, but also really exciting. So yeah, it's a good thing. We all need
yeah.
to get outside of our comfort zone sometimes.
Yeah, that's for sure. So as a member of the House of Representatives, I would invite you to and encourage you to look and I'm sure you've done this. That's why you're running. Look in inside of your beliefs, and definitely always remember those beliefs of honesty and um, of following the Lord Jesus Christ. Whenever you make decisions, at the floor, and also see influences outside of yourself, people surrounding you, in order to vote for something that's not appropriate, something that is not constitutional, something that's not according to nature. Because you and I know, and I don't know your religious affiliation or anything like that, but I'm sure you believe in God, right? And you do have your core values and everything like that. So, I would invite and encourage to look at that as a source of um, making core decisions. When voting for something that will benefit the state. As
I'll
far as
tell you what,
concerned.
I have a pocket constitution, and I plan to keep this close to me with every decision that I make. I believe that our rights come from God and not from our government, and that our Constitution defends those rights. And so, this is the litmus test for me. What does the Constitution say? Are we limiting government, or are we expanding government? Are we trampling on individual rights, or are we protecting individual rights? Those are the questions and the things that I will constantly be asking myself as I make decisions and push for legislation that reels back our government, that even takes back control from the federal government. I think we see a lot of federal overreach right now, and the powers not specifically identified in this document as the federal government powers belong to the states. And we need to remember that in Utah. And I think that it's time to say to the federal government, no, we've got that here in Utah. We can handle that here. So I think that needs to be something that we look at as we make decisions going forward.
Oh my gosh, that I'm sold. I'm sold. You got it.
I mean, it's simple to
You
me,
definitely,
right? We look at
yeah,
the Constitution. It's simple. We defend and we look at the Constitution, and we don't back down from that. And I think that we can do that respectfully. I think that we can be a strong voice for what we believe in, and have difficult conversations and ask the
yeah,
hard questions. And at the end of the day, if we disagree with one another, we can still be friends.
absolutely.
I have dear friends that are Democrats, and I respect and value their input and their decision. I have dear friends that are Republicans, and we don't agree on everything. In
Uh-huh.
fact, my oldest daughter said to me when I asked her if she would help out and be involved and maybe consider being a delegate, and she got online and read my website and said, Mom, I don't know if I agree with everything you've got on your website. And I said, well, let's talk about it. And it's okay if we don't agree. What you need to ask yourself is, do you think Mom's the best candidate? And if you think I'm the best candidate and you can support me, then here we go. And if you think somebody else is the best candidate, then I'll probably have to take your car keys away. And I don't know, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. But it was a good conversation with my very opinionated, strong-willed oldest daughter who wanted to have a conversation and just be honest and say, Mom, I think you're wrong on this. And it was a great conversation. So I welcome those things, right? We have to be
Yeah.
able to have those conversations, and we have to be able to be respectful and still strong in our convictions. And at the end of the day, she went to caucus night and
Wow.
put her name out there, and I'm super proud of her, right? And she's
Oh.
supportive of her mom. So, whew.
Well, no, that's definitely fantastic, and I really love how straightforward you are. I definitely commend you for that and congratulate you for being such a great example to your family. About what you're doing, and I'm sure they look up to you. For doing this, and I really will help out whoever right now is a state delegate. To
County
encourage.
delegate. My race is the county delegate.
Oh,
I
county delegate. Oh, okay. All right. Well, okay. So
Yeah,
yeah.
all good.
So anyway, it would be pretty much the same. We really need great people in office. Great people such as yourself. You are straightforward. You are a great example to your family. You work so hard, in your business and what you do, and that definitely says a lot about you. So
I
so
appreciate that. Very kind.
fant- fantastic work, fantastic work.
Thank you.
And just and I say that because as far as your history is concerned, you mentioned you were talking about certain things that were going on, and you finally got tired of it. Then you got up, show up, and start working towards it, and that's not very many people do that.
Well,
And
it's
and
scary.
what was that?
I said that's because it can be scary to put yourself out there, right?
Yeah,
So, but we can be brave. We can do hard things.
absolutely.
And if
Yeah,
there's anything that I've tried to teach my children is that they can do hard things.
yep. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
And I said that this is as an example because um yeah, I mean, we didn't have very many people at the caucus meetings, and it saddens me. It saddens me because everybody wants a change but nobody wants to change.
Do you know,
And
I wonder sometimes if people think that it's going to be a negative experience, right? Because so much in politics is divisive and negative. And yet we had a great conversation at our caucus night. And I dragged my oldest, or my son who's 20. He's usually not around. He's a professional skier, and I
oh,
made him come to caucus night. He was actually in town and home and able to be there. And I think at the end of the day, he was really grateful he was there. It was a good experience. Um, so the more that we can interact with our neighbors and bring people together, that's a positive thing. And if we can work hard as neighbors and as concerned citizens to tell people about the caucus system and be champions for it, then it becomes the best system out there, right? And it
yeah.
allows for that grassroots involvement instead of people paying a lot of money to get signatures to
Mm,
circumvent the delegates and get on the ballot. that that makes me sad, right? It's the law of the land. It's legal and they can totally do that. But if we as conservatives can work together to bring people out to caucus night, to be respectful, to have those conversations and get people involved and engaged, then that benefits everyone, right? And it helps us maintain that grassroots momentum and involvement in the whole election process. But I think we have to be willing to stand up and say to our neighbors, come, this is a great
yeah,
experience. Learn something. It's not hard. Nobody's judging you. Everybody's just happy that you're there, right? And it
yeah.
was a snowy night. It was probably hard to get out, but I think we need to, all of us respectively, be talking about those things to our neighbors and saying, get involved. No matter what you believe, get involved.
Exactly. Yep. And that's the only thing that we got because for a change, you have to be involved. If something needs to happen within our country, and and I'm gonna say something really sad that somebody told me the other day. We are getting the leadership that we got because of what we have done,
Mm.
or we're getting what we deserve because nobody's showing up, and we're just making decisions out of the blue, and just because of mean tweets, we have now somebody that's um and I'm not condemning the mean tweets. I mean, those were definitely fun. I don't know, that's as far as myself is concerned, but
Well,
um
for me, they were just words, right? For
yeah,
me, it goes back to policy. You can condemn people all day long based on their personality, or not, and unfortunately, I think many people vote based on who they like, not whose policies they like. So I would hope that we could look at the policies, at people's stands, and at their values, and at what drives them, right? And
yeah.
let's make decisions based on those things, maybe not the silly things that they put on Twitter.
Right,
Although
right.
I would
And
take a mean tweet and $2 a gallon gas. I did say that at the Lincoln Day dinner, and I mean it.
yeah.
I take that all day long.
I agree. I
Yeah.
I would agree 100%. And I think that Governor DeSantis from Florida will run for president. I mean, I that's what I would love for that to happen. I mean, I've seen his videos and things like that, and oh my goodness, he will be a very, very, very strong. Because we need somebody that's strong in office to make great decisions, and somebody that will keep America great. And I'm gonna keep this hat because right now
Right?
America is not that great right now. Well, it is great. It is the most wonderful country in the world. You are free to do whatever you want. You can be what. And another thing that I mentioned in one of my episodes is that America America is not racist. Um, America has been designed to be just like a fertile field where you can plant anything you want. If you go out there on the field, on the farm,
Mhm.
and you plant a seed, the earth is not going to say, "Oh, you're Hispanic, you can't do that," or "Oh, you're whatever." The earth will give you what you plant.
Oh,
It,
I love that analogy. That's a
you know,
beautiful analogy, right? We all have that ability to plant and sow what we dream.
exactly, exactly, and that's how we should look at the United States as. We need to, we really need to see it for what it is, a very fertile ground where you can go and make something great of yourself, and be fantastic at your skills, regardless of who you are. And there's no oppression. Michael Jordan right now is sitting at this nice mansion. He's not oppressed, right? Oprah Winfrey, she has what, how many billions in the bank, and
A
she's
couple,
a couple billions in the bank, and she's not oppressed.
right?
You know, I'm Ignacio Valdez. I have a podcast. I'm a small business owner, and I have a family here in the US. I have always wanted to be here to speak the language. I wanted to be part of the American society. I'm a United States citizen. I've done so many things that the system has benefited me as an individual, as a Latino Mexican American, guy coming
Right,
to the system. The system benefits everybody. It doesn't just benefits a certain type of people. It benefits everybody.
right.
That's why everybody wants to come to America.
Well, it was the collective greatness of the individual that made this country what it is, right? At some point, we were all immigrants.
Mhm.
Um, we all came here for a dream.
Yeah.
Um, and for a better life and for opportunity. And those are powerful words coming from someone as a first generation immigrant to this country. And I applaud you and all that you've
Oh,
done
thank you.
and becoming so successful. So,
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
like I said, I love that analogy. Anyone can plant a seed. The earth isn't going to decide, oh, a woman planted that or a Hispanic planted that. I'm not going to let that seed grow. That's simply not the case. So that's a beautiful analogy.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, Jill, we have to wrap up for today. I definitely thank you so much for being here on my podcast. And even more, thank you for what you're doing, putting yourself up there, running for office. And like I said, this system benefits everybody. And
Absolutely.
it's benefiting you, regardless of who we are, where we come from, and everything. So, some last words for everybody.
Just thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you. It's been awesome. I appreciate it, and to speak on things that are near and dear to my heart. So I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Jill. I appreciate it. And remember, guys, this is the Nacho Show. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And we are now on YouTube, and doing all these wonderful lives. And also make sure to go to my website, www.thenachoshow.com. And we'll see you next time.